A special public meeting of March 25th, 2019 of the Township of Washington Township Council. Adequate notice of the meeting was given in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act by the Township Clerk to at least 2 newspapers on March 21st, 2019, and this notice has been posted on the Township Bulletin Board and on the Township website. Please notify the municipal clerk for any disability requirements necessary for attendance at mayor and council meetings. The fire exits are located through the double doors to your right and through the door on your left. Please silence all cell phones. Everybody please stand for a salute to the flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Councilman Bruno, Councilman Casio, Councilman Cumming,
Here.
Councilman Ullman,
Here.
Council President DeSena.
Here. Also in attendance, Mayor Peter Calamari, Administrator Robert Tovo, CFO Judy Curran, and Township Clerk Susan Witkowski. Motion to open the meeting up to the public.
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Cumming,
Yes.
Councilman Ullman,
Yes.
Council President DeSena.
Yes. Seeing no one in the audience, do I have a motion to close the public discussion?
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Cumming,
Yes.
Councilman Ullman,
Yes.
Council President DeSena.
Yes. Thought I heard some voices in the hallway, but
Maybe there's something else going on.
under individual resolutions, Resolution 19-169, authorizing engineering services, intersection improvement, Washington Avenue and Pascack Road. Gentlemen, just a quick little,
Can we motion and second first?
Oh,
please, before we
motion, please.
describe?
So moved.
Second.
very quickly, I asked Mr. Tovo to introduce this. Boswell has been working diligently on the project without an executed resolution. However, I thought it was imperative that we show the public that this administration and council is, committed to getting the intersection done. So rather than having Boswell continue to work on their, on their own without passing a resolution, I thought we should pass the resolution. This way it's memorialized that they're working. Correct, Mr.
Typically for
Tovo?
a funded project like this.
We wouldn't do it, but
Because it's been dormant for a while, so the public knows we're moving on it, the resolution was the most sensible thing to do.
So what do we have a
we've already
project.
given the mayor authorization to sign the contract, so,
We funded $400K in the last
yes.
Correct.
last year.
Correct.
Yep.
So is this just,
Taking from that.
no, but in terms of what are we resolving here?
We were doing the right-of-way acquisitions, the preliminary design, the final design, the acquisition maps, and the review of the comments for the zoning board for the new dental office that wants to open at the Helen Bone Helen Bone Bridal Shop, Mike.
These are all things that we expected to occur during the process. We felt it was important to establish progress billing. That's why on, there's no page numbers here, but near the end.
On the top it is page 3 of 4.
Good work. The tasks are established here in the contract, so as they are completed, Boswell Engineering can be paid for that.
And we did authorize the mayor previously at a previous council meeting, Mike, to execute the agreement with Boswell. However, we never formalized it. Your mic's on, Mr. Cumming and Mr.
Yes.
Tovo?
Just a red light.
Yeah, that's fine.
So is this complete or is this in advance?
This is, completion to get it to construction.
But as the tasks are completed, they will be paid.
Okay, so we don't have the preliminary design yet?
They're working on it
They're
as we
working
speak.
on that.
Okay. And it sounds like it may be premature, but do we know, I'm sorry, it sounds like it may be premature, but do we know what our acquisition is at this point?
We do not.
Well, the five-star gas station has already given the acquisition to the county as part of their approvals.
Yes.
The Seasons lot is incorporated, the acquisitions are shown now for their proposed commuter lot plan is shown with the acquisitions required from the county, and those are already completed, however, they haven't been formalized into a document to submit to them. And the Helen Bowen Dental Office, as part of their approval process, they've been told what the requirements for the county by the county planning department and by Boswell, what we need for the intersection for their, and if they do get approval, what they would have to supply to us, Mike.
And
And those are the only,
And that was minimal.
and that was minimal.
regarding the property, with the abandoned houses, is that dedication based on approval of the project?
It's two separate issues. The approval of his process is running concurrently with our project. They're at the DEP seeking their approvals right now. They haven't submitted a formal application. But the plans from their engineer to our engineer have been submitted, and they are shown right now on ours. So the acquisition is not contingent on him getting his approvals. It's going to be required as part of this project.
Yeah, we're not tied into.
We're not
them.
tied in.
If anything's holding them up, we are not.
We're
tied
still
into-
proceeding with the acquisitions of the property required for the project, whether or not, what process they are with their project for the commuter lot. If that answers your question.
I guess it sort of does. So when we did the gas station, they were required as part of the approval?
They will be required once they submit them to the county planning department. However, they have not made a formal application to the county planning department, if that answers your question.
But there was no cost to the town for that?
Yes, correct. And there should be no cost, but we can't answer that right now because we don't know where they are with theirs.
Okay. All right.
Any objections?
No.
Roll call, Sue?
Mr. Bruno has walked in at 7:39. Bob, we're doing a roll call on that resolution for the engineering services for the intersection. You ready to vote?
Didn't we do this one?
We gave the mayor, Bob, we were just talking, we gave the mayor our verbal approval to proceed with the project. However, to show the importance of this, we thought it was important to pass a resolution memorializing Boswell's contract with the township, so this way we're all,
Fine by me.
okay, thank you.
Councilman Bruno?
Yep.
Councilman Cumming?
Yes.
Councilman Ullman?
Yes.
Council President DeSena?
Yes, thank you, gentlemen. At this time, discussion, gentlemen, the 2019 budget. Mr. Tovo has handed out the revised capital plan and also the revised worksheets for the budget.
In addition, I also have copies of the backup regarding medical, both health and dental, the run sheets for both in and out on Town Day, including donations as requested, holiday celebration runs.
Do we have a copy for everybody?
We do, yes. Celebration of public events.
So I had three major highlights in the budget. I guess the first one, we were going to revisit the grant consultant on page 1.
Yes.
Did you end up doing something?
I did.
Oh, no.
Mr. Cumming?
Sorry.
Thank you.
Does Bob have that? He does, okay.
This one?
Yeah. Oh, and that one. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So gentlemen, in the new printout, I had earmarked some things in the budget that we needed to.
Which printout, this one?
Well, the new printout, yeah, Bob said he addressed it. So on page 1, we had talked about hiring a grant consultant for our firehouse projects, all our projects in general, and we were working on putting out an RFQ for it, and something happens, so we have to, I guess, revisit that. But we wanted to put a placeholder in the budget for a grant consultant, so you've done that, Mr. Tova, I see, for $15,000?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
So is that just a general, we haven't picked one yet, but we wanted to just put something in the budget in case we do get a grant consultant on board?
Correct.
Gentlemen, so on page 1, 90120, 100, 170, this was one of the flags I had left over. The mayor's recommendation is $15,000 for, and requested is $15,000. Are we okay with that?
Is that typically paid out of expense, or is it, can it be part of the funded amount?
You have to put it in the current budget. You have to put it in the current budget.
Okay.
Are we okay with it? All right, next question I had was on page 6.
Is that specific to the firehouse or the fire department, or is it?
It's specific to grants in general.
Yes.
I have 90120, 120, 120, which is the assistant to the clerk. So you did revise it, okay.
Yes, sir. 29,000.
Yep. And then my next is on page 9.
So we'll go with that.
Yep. On page 9, 90120, 130, 160. That's incorrect still.
Well, it's not incorrect. What it is, that's what's budgeted for the line item. That is not what will be in the salary ordinance. That's what controls the wage.
Yeah, but it doesn't, because.
But it doesn't because they could spend it because it's in there. We made it 10,000.
And we proved last year that whatever's in the salary ordinance, I believe we outspent the salary ordinance. So the control on the salary ordinance, the control on the line item is not, I don't believe, if I understood what happened last year, is not enforceable.
So we will adjust that
Can
to
we
10.
reduce that to 10,000, Judy, please, as we originally requested? Gentlemen, are we okay with putting it to where we originally requested?
Which line are we on?
90120, 130, 160. It shouldn't be 15. We moved it
Second
down
one
to
on
10.
page 9.
All right, gotcha.
All right. And then the next major thing I had was on page 11. 90120, 145, 110.
145.
Oh, it got moved to, because we eliminated lines. It's on page 10.
Oh, page 10.
Yeah, that's okay. That's been changed. No, that's been changed.
110, 145, 110.
Yeah,
45,
that's correct.
Okay, right?
Yep, and then the following line was changed to 2,500, that's been corrected, and then the deputy has been zeroed out, that's good, okay. The next major flag I had, gentlemen, was on page 13, but it may be now 12, under 150, 120. 150, 120 is now here, yep, 5814, that's correct. Department of Law is the next biggest one, 90120, 155, 260, on page 15 or 14? 14, thank you, Sue.
Oh, that should be
So where is it? 90120,
It was
155,
12.5 it should be, yeah.
Right.
Yes, do we have, I don't have it yet, hold on. 13, 14, give
Time
me one
14.
second.
Yeah, this one's 12.5, right?
Yes,
I didn't have that, sorry.
I'm sorry, did I miss something? Sorry, 155, 110?
155, 260 should be 12,500.
No, 1,250.
No, 12,500.
12,500.
12,500.
Okay.
155, 260.
60.
Should be
And
12,500.
12,500.
That's what we agreed to, gentlemen. I have a minus 7,500 in that line item. Yes, correct, Bob?
Yep.
Okay.
I had it at 10.
We did,
spoke about it and then
and then we upped it up
invited the
to,
bid, we
I
got
have
no.
10 crossed out, Mike, and then we went to 12.5. You are correct. It was 10 at one time, and we upped it to 12.5. The next major item I have is 90121, 180, 110, which used to be on 19, which is probably on 18 now.
Some of the lines changed, I
Because you deleted line, yeah, that's what I'm saying, it might be on 18. So it's 90121, 180, 110, which is on 18, and that is correct, 13,593. Planning Department Consulting Non-Legal, 901-21-180-320 on page 19.
Page what? 19?
Yeah, it's 3,000, that is correct. Okay, that's been corrected. The next big one is health, dental, life, and accident, right? Bob, you can give us the exact numbers on page 25 for 901-23220-000. It might be 24 now.
It is
It's
24.
24 now.
Why are these pages crossed out on mine? On
Yeah, mine too.
24? 24
Oh,
is
I'm
Xed
sorry,
out.
there's 2 pages. 'Cause
Oh, there's
we
two
had-
24s, okay.
Yeah, because we had to make correction, and we caught late,
Oh, okay.
so we have to address.
All right, so workers' comp is okay. Health, dental, life, and accident. Bob had asked for the printouts which you provided to us tonight, Mr. Tovo, right?
Yes, I did.
So can you just go over them for, I guess?
Yeah, as we discussed the last meeting, trying to land at what's driving the increase in primarily health. There's a 3% increase in premium. The majority of our costs lie in either new plans or plans switching from single to family or member spouse to family. So that's really where the drive is, and the first sheet in the handout covers that. The notations up top are the new plans added from 18 to 19.
So we had, it was a 3% increase they gave us then?
Yes.
Okay, and then what? So that's not too bad. That'll give us 18, let's say round numbers, 20,000. So that would be 630 with all things being equal from last year. But you said you had an increase of why?
There's 6 new plans, 2 family, 2 member spouse, 2 single. There are some that move from
You're up on top here.
single to married or married to family. But if you look down the columns, you'll see what the 18 rate was compared to what the 19 rate currently is.
And this is gross. This is gross expense or net
This is
after?
net,
This is net.
correct. This is after the contribution goes back to the township. It's got to go back to the line item.
But the cost on this sheet is, because isn't the contribution by the employee, doesn't it vary by their
Salary.
salary?
does.
Correct.
So with this, because we don't know what the contribution is this gross then?
This is the total amount. This
Yes,
is
yeah,
for,
this is total amount.
Okay.
So if you have family plan, Mike, you're paying 35%. If you make over $100,000, you're paying 35% of the 2687.57. But this does not include pharmacy. This is only for medical.
using prescription part of it?
No.
Well, it says for employers who offer
No, this is
prescription
not-
drugs
this is both.
through the
This is
medical
Should be part-
plan.
Yeah.
This is both on the plan.
Under state health benefits, it's normally included.
No, it's not. It's 2 separate numbers. There's another sheet, Judy. It's higher. It's even higher than this number.
And what I think this one here does include, see, for employees who
It
work
does, yeah.
prescription drugs through the medical plan. Right, I think? Would you have an option of one or not?
I'm trying to think of
That's how
that.
mine's covered.
Yeah, yeah. Mine has 2 separate numbers, but that's fine. And we're in the same plans. Okay.
Maybe in this printout, they grossed it up to
Maybe they
include
bumped
both,
it, yeah, maybe they bumped it up. Are we okay with this, Bob? Now that you have the 3% number?
Thank you.
Good? So we're good with health, dental, and eye, because it's a bill now, and we're okay? All right, so that gets rid of that one. The next is right at the bottom of the sheet. Mr. Tovo, can you speak to 901-25240-110?
I can, yes. As you can see, there's a substantial reduction in the amount originally requested for police salary and wage. When I first got here, I started looking at numbers prepared by others. That would include the PBA, former administrator, and current numbers in the payroll system, I had a lot of concern as to where this number really should be going forward with the pending contract. So I moved the number higher to make sure there was no last-minute increase in it. Now that we have weeded through those numbers, I'm very comfortable with the number presented here, which would include a change in police scheduling and any other things currently under negotiation that may have a financial impact in this line item are now included in that number.
So even though we do not have a settlement, this number
Includes the settlement.
includes,
Worst-case scenario settlement.
well, I don't like to call it worst case
Well,
because for some
financially,
it's the
highest.
best case, so.
True.
The maximum financial exposure.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
So gentlemen, we okay with that maximum financial exposure at this time, knowing that we're not done with negotiations? But this is, like Mike said, our maximum exposure, the 1.43% increase from last year with the maximum exposure right now.
Yes.
And I do have a breakdown of these numbers for.
Closed
council
session
for a
on
later
Monday.
date.
So this is representing a 1.43% increase compared to last year's amount?
Yes.
Basically, that's it?
Correct. You got 1.43, yeah, because it's,
That automatically calculates.
correct. yes,
So-
Bob.
Okay.
So our maximum exposure, if we were to settle on the contract today, this number would be our maximum exposure if there was no renegotiation of what Bob's going to present to us Monday night.
So it's basically as business as usual, if that was the case? Is that what you're saying?
No,
No.
So it includes what their ask is?
yes,
Can't be.
it is.
Their ask was more,
Well, we can't discuss their asking, that's closed, so
Once
negotiation.
we're able to review this and close, it'll make a lot more sense.
But are we okay with
Okay.
the exposure being 1.43%, I guess, is, so Judy can run the numbers, that's what I need to know.
yeah, I guess we have to run it this way, right? See what
Yep.
it looks like.
And then the next line, we flagged the police overtime with the reduction from 250 requested to the 150 budgeted. Are we okay with that, gentlemen?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Bruno, you okay? Mr. Alman?
It's a decrease.
It's a decrease, a substantial decrease, yes.
I guess we're talking cost.
We'll talk Monday, Mr. Tovo is going to present Monday night, right? Is it? We're
Correct,
going to
sir.
go into closed session to discuss finalizing the negotiations with the PBA on Monday night. The next biggest thing I had was, I guess it was OEM, right? Mr. Tovo, you had a change on OEM on page, I guess it's 30 now?
Yeah, the number's supposed to be adjusted in here.
Yeah, it should be
OEM
1,800,
S&W
right?
is reflecting 1,800, should be increased to 24 because that's 1,200 for the coordinator, 600 for each deputy, and there are two, both to be named later.
So Judy, on, if we're okay with 252,100 on page 30, the requested and the budgeted should be matched.
So what are we at, 2,400?
2,400, gentlemen, if we're
24
okay.
plus the board? Okay.
Yeah.
2,400.
Yes. Gentlemen, we okay with that? So Mr. Tovo is saying it's 1,200 for the director and 600 each for the two deputy directors to be named at a later date.
For the coordinator, yes, sir.
And it's a full year, I assume then?
Yes.
That is
So it's going to be less because we haven't had coordinators yet, so,
correct.
Deputies.
deputies, excuse me. The next biggest thing I had was, DMF secretary on 37, which is probably 36 now.
Yes. Toward the top.
18,520 for 130, it should be on, yes. So that was changed. Yeah.
18.5, right?
18,500, yes, that's what we're budgeted, correct.
And also, there's a clarification on permanent employee non-stipend, 126,290, 110. 427 was requested. If you recall, there was a higher number in the final budget of 467.
Yep.
The number actually being requested is 437, so that we can account for the driver cleaning person position.
Oh, okay.
It
So
should
it's,
be
so it's coming in less than the 467, which we originally had.
Correct.
Oh, great.
So
So we okay with the
437.
437 for 110, gentlemen? Originally, we approved 467. So it's a 30%, $30,000 reduction.
Okay.
We okay with that, Mr. Ullman? Mr. Bruno?
It's contractual stuff, right?
Yes, but we're lowering it 30,000 from what was originally anticipated.
I guess I just don't, so it's great we're lowering it 30,000. I'm just trying to figure out the math. Because we were adding one and then we were adding a second one, I thought. And we're doing all of that for 50,000?
To clarify the math, what the lion's share of that person's salary will be taken from an existing line item that we're using to outsource cleaning services.
Also, we're going to hire a person on our own here as an employee rather than going outside.
Correct.
More than likely.
Okay, so that's supplementing that line item.
Correct.
So we're saving on having the outside vendor come in and perform cleaning services by now hiring somebody part-time to do it here during the day.
It'll be a
Or
full-time
full-time,
position because
because they're going to be
there are
driving the
other
bus and,
responsibilities.
correct,
Other
okay.
things, yeah.
Okay. We all right with that, Mike?
I am, but are we going to see the,
Reduction somewhere else? Or the transfers, or are we going to leave it there for now until we do this?
Once we do, we'll move the funds over to this line item and zero out the other.
Okay. Are we able to break that contract?
It's a month
It's
to
a
month.
month.
It's a month-to-month, okay.
so the salary won't come online until the cleaning service is dispatched?
That is correct. And to clarify, the line item that would be shifted would be 0126310450 on page 41 of the new sheet, showing 32,000.
And that'll go to what?
Salaries?
That would go towards the salary,
All amount? Or have
No.
what the
Partial.
balance of it would be, yeah,
Yeah, because we paid them, we have to pay them till whenever we dispatch.
correct.
Are we okay with that, gentlemen? The next big line item I have is 901-26305-210, curbside contractor fees for recycling.
What page are you on?
It should be 40. Find it.
Okay, be happy to clarify this. The curbside contractor fees is just as a contracted amount for $145,853 per year. What had happened here was the tonnage grant was applied to this and therefore reducing the line item by $20,000. I don't recommend we do that because it is a contract. For some reason, you don't get your grant, you're still on the hook for the
But
contract.
we were wondering why there was not, the cost for 18 is only $38,589. That's what was the biggest question.
The contractor is fully paid out for the year, and we are current with them. The issue lies with where it was charged, and it was charged to the grant line item for tonnage.
Oh,
That is being corrected.
So the grant makes up that big difference.
It was applied there, but there's only $20,000 in that particular line item.
Could have gone
So
into
the
the negative.
the other grants may have picked it up. So we're aware of it now, so we can correct it.
so we did pay him the full 125,269, oh, the 145,269.26 because you're subtracting the grant out of there. So we paid the contractor 145,269.26.
Correct.
But it got charged to the wrong account.
And item number two to bear in mind here, there's no longer a profit factor when it comes to recycling.
Correct, we're not
So we
making
need to
money.
keep our tonnage grants separate and apart to absorb those. We are looking at other options and other recycling centers, and this contract is due for RFP at the end of this year.
Okay.
So Okay.
But I think the market is not,
There's no market.
there's no
shot.
market for it, so it's going to be not a cash revenue any longer, it's going to be a negative.
So the,
It's not in our best interest to own the stream anymore. We need to go in a different direction.
so the, for that line item, the appropriation last year was 125,269, and you're saying that 20,000 was netted off against that?
I'm saying that what they did is they reduced this by 20,000 in anticipation of the tonnage grant, which was awarded for about 20,000.
Okay.
Not the way we recommend we do this, because in spite of the grant, you're on the hook for the full contracted amount.
So should the 2019 proposal then, oh, you've changed it to 145?
Change
Yes.
back to the contracted
That's
amount.
the contract. amount,
Okay.
right?
And then, I'm sorry, the expense was charged to where?
To the tonnage grant line item,
So isn't that a revenue line?
It's a revenue and it's also an expenditure. And you get it every year.
So where is that? Is that line item in this book?
it is not, because it's a G category for grant, and that we did not print out, so we are still, we will be making our correction there.
Apologies.
This started about mid-year, well, probably before mid-year last year. I'm assuming that the intention was to charge you off a month or a month and a half to the grant item, but that just continued to roll over.
But our total liability to this was 145, 269, 26. So this number just got charged to the wrong, but our total liability was the 145 number.
Correct.
Mr. President, where are we?
We were on page 40.
We're done.
Doing recycling curbside contractor fees. New sheets, Dr. Casker.
Okay, so can you just, for my edification, where's the $20,000 charged to? Where do we find that?
Well, we got a grant for that. We didn't find it. We got a grant.
But didn't we pay 145 less 20, or we just paid 125?
We paid 145.
Right.
The 145 doesn't exist anywhere in the appropriations or the actuals, because a grant was netted off against the appropriation, and the actuals were paid out of a grant line, not a expense line. So even though we paid 145, we show an appropriation of 125, and we show an expense of 38. So our expenses are, at least in this,
$80,000 off.
are underrepresented.
Gotcha. Mrs. Curran, you're working on getting this resolved?
So this shows.
So the amount we have in there is the correct amount, that's our contract
Now-
amount, right? That's
now,
what,
yes.
we owe the recycling company $145,860 that's our contracted amount.
Correct.
So it's a $145,000 liability with the possibility of getting a $20,000 grant to reduce that liability.
Correct. And last week's question was that a matching grant? The answer is no, it's just a grant based on the tonnage of our recycling.
Gotcha.
So the books are still open in terms of 18. I think we had this discussion last week. So what precludes us from making these corrective entries?
Well, I would reclass them.
We only found this out today, so we have to make those corrections.
And what's the entry gonna be?
I'm sorry, what is the,
What's the entry gonna be?
I would take it out of the grant and charge it to the appropriation line item.
So it'll show that we spent the full line probably plus the 20 grand.
So are we sitting with like a $60,000, no, hold on.
Surplus,
No.
90,000.
Yeah, but, so it's 38 less 145, 145 less 38, 107. And then we have a $20,000 grant. So are we sitting with a negative 87, a negative, oh, you were right, Bob. It's very good with the numbers. Are we sitting with a negative 90 in our grants?
Well, that's what I have to look. I mean, I've never seen a tonnage grant for more than 20,000. Now, it could have been accumulation over the years, and it built up to that amount. And if it wasn't used in the past, that's what I would check.
I don't think there's anything built up in that one. I would have seen that. That I can tell you. That's not on my hit list. Extra money in the tonnage grant. That's one I don't have.
You don't have that one,
Well,
Mr.
that's
Bruno?
I have that one.
That's how it would be done.
All right, so I guess,
let's
I
clarify
guess,
this.
once we clarify the expenditures, but the liability is 145,860, so we okay with that, gentlemen? It is a contract cost, all right?
That's clear.
The next line item we had was recycling leaf disposal fees, which has now been updated to 146,292, so it has been, we got the final invoice in,
Really?
Mrs. Curran?
Yes.
So that's our total expenditure for 2018
Yes.
to date. Okay.
Which one? 146 to 92?
146,292.
And we still want the 175?
We just don't know how many
Yeah.
leaves are gonna decompose while they're at the yard and when they're
Oh,
gonna
is
come
that
down.
it?
Yeah, you just,
Okay.
it's a gamble, like we came in under
It is.
this year, but
So we're providing like snow.
But if you look at the history, we're closer to that 175 mark.
correct. Yeah, this year we just happened to have a $29,000 reduction because,
Mother Nature's taking a lot of trees down for us.
Really?
Cut more trees down. I don't need to rake.
Oh, you can't say that. You can't say that.
you okay, gentlemen, with leaving that at the
I'm not a
175?
tree
number?
hugger, man.
But we have a green team and they outnumber you.
That's, if they want to do it on their lawn,
They'll
they're
come
fine.
rake
I'm
your
okay
your
with
lawn,
this.
Steve.
Are we okay with this, gentlemen?
I is one of them, so.
Yep.
Okay. The next thing I have is, the rest are all simple. Sanitary sewer fees, page 56, 901-31455-200.
An item that's close to your heart.
Dr. Casio, can you just do this one?
Let's try now.
Okay, what number is it?
901,
No, page 50.
it should be
56, toward the bottom.
56.
Okay, sanitary sewers?
Yeah, 455-200.
Okay, let's see,
455.
Yeah, 455-200.
200, okay,
Thank you.
so, it looks like it was that an actual 52 last year?
No, it was 824, and now we made it 739, so it was a big decrease.
455, 200.
Okay, oh, I got it, I'm sorry. I didn't want the wrong one. Oh, it looks like it decreased, that seems like it's gonna be an actual number then.
Yep, that's
Yes.
it.
Are you happy with it, gentlemen?
Yep,
Mr. Bruno? Mr.
great.
Holman? Yes?
Yeah. And that's charged based on a rate that the BCUA sets?
Yes.
So do we know if it was a rate that changed or volume?
volume.
Volume.
It did not rain that much last year, Mike.
So this is sanitary or? this is
Sanitary.
Waste?
Sanitary.
Cemetery.
So
Or
will
our
rain
storm
impact
sewers.
that?
No, rain will impact because it'll get into the sewer system and give us I&I, which we haven't touched our system in years, so it's a direct correlation.
So,
Really, even though the storm sewers are
we got through.
They're supposed to be sealed, but they're not.
completely,
Yeah,
like some pumps in basements.
correct. Some pumps that go out sanitary, so if you had less groundwater and you pumped less water into the
Which is
system.
illegal, people, if you're
Yes.
listening.
Yeah.
And what about the other one, 456, 200?
Well, that's a contractual thing with the
That's another
towns,
contract
yeah.
with the other towns?
Yep.
And is that all our surrounding towns at this point? Because I know there's some
I
bills.
think we were missing one bill
There
from
were some bills
Hohokus,
that
right?
come in, and did we correct that?
There
I
is.
believe we are correct that we also, in this number, paid a bill that might have been 2 years old.
So is this number too high?
Out of this 80?
I'm a little worried about how Hocus, so I think I need one more year of tracking them before we bring the number down.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
So-
so, I'm sorry, Mike, go ahead.
No, you go.
Are you okay with $80,000 there?
I think it should be less.
Well, Bob thinks there may be another outstanding year bill or something, right? Is that what you're saying?
I do, I think we need to make sure that we are
Up to date?
tracking right and we're getting these bills in a timely
Now,
fashion.
the history's 63, 62, 69, 75, and last year seems to be low by, almost 13,000. So, and even if you go to the previous year, it's still 10,000, or 2 years back, it's 3 years back, it's still.
Still 70 grand, yeah.
It's still $10,000 short. I mean, if you want to take a little bit off the top, I wouldn't feel so bad, but, do we, Judy, you have enough in the control, if we need a little bit more there?
That's a separate line item. There's no control.
Oh, is it? There's no control
By
there?
itself? No, so it's by
Oh,
itself.
okay, well, then I guess the answer is no to that. So, do you want to take,
We'll leave it at 80.
leave it at 80? Mr. Bruno, you good with 80? Mr. Cumming, you good with 80?
Yes, sir.
Okay, 80 it is.
All right, gentlemen, that is all the major changes. We just received this tonight, so I'd like to go through it, but Judy's going to present what, if we leave it the way we have it right now, Judy, what would the tax impact be to the residents? Do we have that sheet?
Yes.
Where's that, in Bob's packet,
You
or?
know what, I didn't make copies. I'm sorry, it's really good.
You want me to go get it?
Is
Want
that
me to do
okay?
it?
I just went upstairs and made a couple copies, is that right?
I'll do it.
Sure.
Do you have an extra one to talk with, or you got, oh, we'll wait for the copies to come down.
See, what one was in here?
What you requested? Did you find out what the actual, these are the actual increases here, 28? Okay. Gotcha. And they're.
Oh, I don't- Linda was here, so
direct
she's still here.
Is everyone?
I don't
Direct
have
10
those codes.
stars, yours is direct 10.
Yes, we are at New Jersey Direct 10.
Judy, while we're waiting for that, this packet, so for Town Day, basically, everything, is this charged to is this the account ledger, or is this everything that was charged to Town Day?
Mike, how far into the packet are you?
Get there.
It is about 3 pages.
Oh, thank you.
One more. The ledger I'm looking at.
Oh, the ledger sheets, okay.
So, I
This
guess,
is everything that was charged to Town Day. I
But-
mean, but it was actually, it's Town Day, but it's on the current side, not on the trust.
so this is but this is a
So you didn't make it
account
on
number.
trust then?
I'm sorry.
This is a detailed account, this is
Yes.
an account ledger.
Yes.
And not saying we did see it, but if there was a charge to printing from another department that was flagged as Town Day, it wouldn't be here. It would have to be charged to this account.
Well, this gives you all the details, so if you went here and you seen something you didn't think belonged to Town Day,
I'm more concerned of things that got charged, things related to Town Day
it didn't get charged here?
that didn't get charged.
Well, we could look at that, we could look at all the other areas.
The back.
This, it's in there.
I think it's,
So it's in here?
It's like the third or fourth page down.
This one?
Yes. One more. So basically, we started at 22. We have 3,800 remaining.
yes.
So 16,000 was charged to Town Day.
What
And
page on Mike, sorry?
It's a ledger, Bob. It's about
I know.
4 pages in. There you go,
Like,
right there, Bob. That's it.
Like, there's a charge here, it says reindeer hats, tree lighting. I don't know, is that considered a part of your Town Day, is your Town Day Christmas? I don't know,
No.
Town Days, okay, so
nor is Van Soon Park.
maybe you wouldn't, you know what I'm saying, maybe you wouldn't think what that, I mean, I'm just saying.
Okay. But basically, that's what this is depicting. We appropriated 22,000. We spent 16,000. We have 4,000 left.
Left, yes.
And then on the revenue side, there is,
But this money that was spent went against the current fund, not the reserve?
correct. I think that's what Judy is saying.
So we didn't use it against the reserve?
No, exactly, and see, and, I mean, I
But we
would think
said we were
that.
gonna
We were
use, that
supposed
was,
to.
we're supposed to be
Right.
using the reserve.
Right.
I mean, that's,
Well,
this
that's what
year,
I wanted to go with for, because it wasn't done in 18, and then I would think that if you had a list of donations, these would be sitting in your reserve.
So where did, that's the next question, where did the revenue side go? Does it go into,
Well, these should be in your reserve on your trust.
do you think it is?
Donations. Well, I'll check, but that's where it should be.
The AFS doesn't have the detail.
All right.
thank you.
It's under miscellaneous, so I can't see it.
I'm working on making all those sub-ledgers and all those accounts, so that we can have a clear picture.
Okay.
And there's 500, thank you,
And then,
599 in miscellaneous reserve. I don't know what's in there. That's what you have to break out. It's in there.
thank you.
I got two sheets here.
It's not bad.
I think there's two, there might be two.
$30.
I don't know.
You would have-
What?
Yeah,
No,
I
there's
know
two
that.
sheets.
Once
Oh,
you get
sorry.
the statement, has it all in there.
But what I'm
Yeah, that's the average.
looking
That's
for
not the number.
sub-ledgers like that,
It's $30.
accounts flowing up to that, but there's no,
Wouldn't that be nice?
would be that nice.
So the,
Okay.
Yeah, that's all.
if we look,
That's nothing.
That's nothing.
That's nothing.
Nothing, honey.
is, all right, so we don't have a breakdown of the concerts, do we?
That was in one of the
Yes,
actual.
They have the,
Yeah, that's just the valuation. No, that's the.
There's other things in it.
valuation. No, that's just the average house price.
And we don't
Average
have the
Valuation.
revenue side,
Okay.
unless it was only those donations. Oh, there they are.
Judy, I have a question.
Sure.
The council made a request last year that the trust for Community Day be used instead of keep using the budget. The way our budget's set up, we're putting more money into Community Day. I know we don't want to zero it out, but we failed last year again, so Community Day, Bob, is probably up to $100,000 again, which Bob's going to, be upset about, and I'm upset about it too, because we didn't do what we were supposed to do. So how do we stop this from happening
Well, can I
again?
just show you how it should, tell you how it should work?
Well, can you ensure us that it's going to be
Well,
how
I'm
it's going to work?
I'll monitor it, definitely, but
I think before we get to that point, Mayor, did you ask for additional funds in current for that, or?
No.
So we want to just make sure we utilize the trust?
But we're putting money in the budget for
We have
Community
some money
Day.
in the
We did
budget, I
put money
believe.
in there. There is
Wasn't
money
it
in a
like
line.
15,000?
Not as much, it was-
Yeah, but there's 80 or 90,000, at this point with the 11,000 we took in and the 16,
So-
there's probably 100 grand in
So
that
we're
account.
budgeting current, is that to be just in case we need it?
No, but we don't need it. We have 80, last year we had $88,000 in there that we wanted to use.
All this stuff was just built up year after year after year, never used. And we keep budgeting for the town day.
And we keep
The
adding
reserve
to it.
doesn't go
Yeah,
anywhere.
the revenue from the sponsors, we keep dumping into the trust, but the expenses we're taking out of current.
So why don't we do, are you okay with zeroing it, or?
Yeah.
If that's the way it's
So it's
supposed to
just-
work,
Originally,
yeah, that's what we want.
That's why I want to ask the
Last-
council if we
Yeah,
want to
they were
zero it this year, because
why
last
don't I
year,
verify what's in the trust?
well, we know what's in the trust.
I know it's
80
80-something thousand.
It's 80-something
There's a
thousand.
few years worth there.
and the average cost
So what
is,
page is that on? Do we know?
What, 20?
Yeah,
About 20, so, you have enough for
So-
3 years, easy.
If we zero it, no one can put anything against it.
Yeah.
The trust is less than that.
Okay, so are we talking on page 53?
The trust is down to
There's a separate
51.
line item just for
It is down
town
to
day.
51.
Events,
That one,
We use
okay,
some.
town day.
yes.
Yeah, but if we're charged,
Should zero.
No, we shouldn't have,
So 0130-420-002,
What page do you want, Bob?
page 53 of the new.
22,000, 22,000. Page,
22,000.
53.
Town day, 22,000.
So we'd like to zero that out?
Well, if there's money in the trust, we said we were going to use the money to get rid of, so we're not double taxing the people for something they enjoy.
But Mike, you said it was 5,100?
no.
51,000,
So-
right? 50,000?
Okay. Would everyone mind just taking a step back for 1 second?
Sure.
No. So there is a town day line item. It's like the third sheet in, and it's, ends 4/20/002. And we start at 22,000, and we end at 4,000, so we have $16,000 in expenses that will run through. And this is
18,000.
Current fund.
current fund. Oh, 18, excuse me.
18, yeah.
18K through current funds. If you go back into the pack, there's an 8-page report.
The budget detail inquiry?
No, same,
Right.
yes, the budget detail inquiry for the trust account.
What page?
They're not numbered, but
On top.
page
Okay.
1.
This one.
What's the first number?
88,576. 88,576. So we start at 88,576,
Yep, that's the number.
and we wind up at 51.
Right.
So we charged 30K against this.
Correct.
So Town Day cost 18 and 30, $48,000. Is that what we're saying?
But something's
I
wrong
hope
with this.
not.
But Mike,
No, I-
something's wrong with this. Mike,
But if you
something's
look at-
wrong, because if you look, you have donations coming into this of 10,000, 5,000,
No,
and they're
you got-
deducting them.
But you got the tree lights, self-standing, some happy thing here, 45,000 expenditure for 2018 anticipated town day. So this is, looks like some kind of Mickey Mouse 45,000 thing, that I don't know what it is. On the 1, 2, 3, 4, the fourth line on the left, 45,000 negative, that's coming out along with the other, and then the other stuff is going back in, 10 and the 15. So I don't know what the 45 was. We
I
took
don't
it
know
out
why,
of here.
I don't know why somebody would take a negative and make them say it's anticipated revenue. So your finance guys can understand that, no?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
This has gotta be- this has gotta be cleaned
We
up.
didn't charge 45,000.
No,
Right,
those-
but I don't know what, you know,
So they took it out of here and went somewhere else, I bet.
could we see whose initials made those entries, Judy?
yes, yeah.
I guess the intent of the mayor and the council is that we have all this money in reserves. We're putting another 22,000 into the budget this year, which we shouldn't be, because last year we said we were gonna do it for the last time, but it was supposed to stay there as a placeholder, but it actually got spent, and somehow this 45,000 got introduced there, which I don't understand. But
Through page 6 of here, it's all the sponsors.
they're all pluses, yeah, so it should have grown. But somebody took a $45,000 payout of it.
And then it starts with the expenses.
With this 45,000 saying someone took it out, they're not saying they actually charged anything, there's no PO, there's no check.
So where'd they take it out to?
That we have to find out. They're using a budget
moved it
entry
to
to
some-
move it, but you have to have a reason for that. You know,
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. You can't make a transfer out of trust. Like,
Well, that's
you know,
what they
the current
did,
budget,
right?
When you do a transfer, so I don't know
It's
what
somewhere.
they did here, but
So you let us know?
I'll definitely look that up. But to label it anticipated revenue, it's on the wrong side.
Yeah.
Well, what they, you know what, they took it out, put it somewhere.
Okay, so let's
And then
check
used
it.
the anticipated revenue logic, because we were gonna get 45,000, I bet. So somewhere, they offset it somewhere. Somebody got $45,000.
So
So we should have enough money in the trust to pay for Town Day this year in totality. Whether it's 45 or 85 or 105, there's enough money, Bob, to pay for it. So I'd say we zero out this line for 2019 for 90130420002.
I'll second that motion. Second motion to zero it out.
Everybody
We
okay
have
with
plenty.
zeroing it out?
Yes,
Because Mike, whether it's 45 or 105, there's
We have
enough to
plenty.
pay for Town Day this year.
I understand that, Michael, and I agree with you. My concern is,
Where'd this money go?
it's, you know, we have slammed on numerous occasions the prior administration for not spending money, for, you know, any number of things. But I had a level of confidence that
So did I.
there was a control over the funds.
You're right.
And, you know,
It's not there.
It's not there.
well, I mean, let's hear what the explanation is, but, you know,
Judy, I'd like to see, you know, Mr. Mayor, if we could have Judy reconcile this account. And I'd
I
like to
wanna
know,
see it as
and
much
I'd
as
like to
anyone
know
else
where that
does.
45,000 is or where it's not supposed to be, and put back in there and correct it, Judy, because it's not correct.
Also, I would like to make a suggestion also, because this one account is reserved for celebration of public events, but I could see donations are in here for Town Day and for.
Correct, that's what I was saying, you have like 10,000,
And
5,000,
I'd
all
like to
these donations.
separate them out, if that's okay with you. I'd like to.
Whatever you
separate.
need to
course.
do your job correctly, we're here to help you, and I think
We'll
the mayor is
support it.
on board to support you on that. So however you need to rectify this to make it the correct way. And
Make it right.
Make it right, as Mike Holmes would say.
That's it, right.
Let's do it right and make it right and get it done, because we were sold a bad bill of goods last year again, because we were told we weren't gonna spend any of the 22,000 because we were gonna take it completely out of reserve, and what do? We spend it anyway, so we need to stop this.
I'm guessing we were told that we had to do it that way, or we would have zeroed it out last year also, so I don't know if.
We were told we had to leave it as a placeholder,
Right,
yeah, correct. I
Mhm.
remember, we had a lot of discussion on this last year, because I think
Right.
Mr. Bruno wanted to zero it out last year, and we didn't because of whatever
Yeah.
reason we were told last year, but I
Yeah.
think,
Let's zero it out and play it safe.
whether it's 45 or 105 in there, I don't want to fund this in
Take it out,
2019.
take it out.
Yep.
I'll take it out, make it 0, and I'll see what happens.
So Sue, we're gonna make line 90130420020 $0. So that will have that'll have an impact to your tax statement right now, but it's not a big deal. It's only $22,000. Anything else in the packet, Mike, before we get to Judy's tax implication sheets, which we just got?
Well, I mean, I'll take a look at this and follow up, it's just.
Well, I think we all have to look at it and make sure all the numbers are, I went through all the big ticket items that we had left through the re-summary, but I'd like to, I want to go line by line on my own.
Okay.
And bring it back for tomorrow night if we find anything significant that we think we need to, but I don't think that it's there looking at it. So Judy, you just gave us 2 sheets?
Yes, the first one,
Judy, for one second.
I'm sorry.
Mr. President, just a question, and I apologize for my lateness. The resolution, 1916.
Correct.
Did it pass?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
You
Sorry I wasn't here for it. I
Thank you.
apologize. But thank you for passing it.
Life gets in the way sometimes.
Yeah, I apologize.
All right, Ms. Curran.
okay, the first sheet, it looks at what the budget was last year. I'm sorry, what the estimated tax levy was last year, and then what it's this year.
So can you say numbers when you?
Oh, sure.
That's all.
Okay. If you want to start from the top, we're looking at the assessed value. It hasn't changed that much from year to year. You see that right above? The 1.6 bill to the 1, yeah. So that hasn't changed that much. You go on to the tax levy. The tax levy has gone up somewhat, based upon the fact that, what our proposed budget's going to be. If you go down to the change in the tax rate, I come up with a preliminary budget appropriation, and I did my anticipation. The surplus I anticipate is 2.2, which we can do that, we've done that similar in the past.
Okay.
It would be in decent enough
That's if
shape.
you move the surplus to reduce the appropriation.
Yes. And we've done about that much each year.
Last year we did the most. We usually do 1.214, just so you know. Last year we did 2.2.
2.2, right. So I did the same thing. I mean, we don't have to do as much, but, and then my miscellaneous revenue, I'm coming up with 1.688670. My delinquent taxes are about the same out of $300,000 for a total of 4,188,670. My amount to be raised would be $9 million, and I'm looking at an increase of $33 per household
For the year.
for the year.
And this is based on just the direct expense side?
Expenses and our revenues.
Appropriations.
Right.
But it doesn't include a capital plan?
No, does not include capital plan.
And does it include the current expense for the last payment on the fixed term, the long-term debt?
Yes.
Okay, so that's
Yes,
part of
yes.
it, okay.
That's part of it.
So we're looking at $8.25 a quarter without you reducing it by another 27,000, which we cut tonight, because we had the 22,000 and the 5,000. So we're at
I mean, that might have a little
$8.25.
bit of an impact, not too much.
Yeah, but right now you're at
Because
$8.25
the
if
tax
we were,
point here was $160,000, so,
okay, so it's only
yeah, so
27,000.
that's where you
Okay.
would really see any kind of big difference.
So we leave everything the way it is, gentlemen, we're at an $8.25 a quarter increase.
What's the second page?
The second page, I found that when they did the AFS, we had a prepayment of taxes, which is at 242, 297. I'm allowed to anticipate that in revenue, and if I did that, we would have a negative 37, we'd go down $37.
So you're getting it back because we prepaid the
Yes.
first quarter? But what is it without the 2.2 million?
Well, I would run those numbers.
But what if we made it 1.2 million, what would it do
Well,
to it?
you have to see what the zero first, to see what the
Yeah.
worst case is.
Yeah, well, I could do the
And
worst
then you-
case, I
then
mean,
you
I have
just
it on a
say-
spreadsheet,
Well, it's going to be in between, it's going to be half.
Well, I think
you know.
this part of the budget is really, you have to give us direction, what numbers.
I think,
Come back with
I think, Mr. Bruno, I think we want to see
I would
We wanna
say
see
0 and 1, 2.
0, 1.2, and then the
Well, if you
2.2,
take
right?
the zero out, you're going to have a big increase more, and then half of that would probably be the change, right?
Right, well,
So
the whole
1.2.
thing is you have to come up with what are you comfortable with? Do you want to stay flat? Do you want
Well, I'm
to
saying, if we do
stay
1.1, is it safe to say if we did a 1.1 anticipated, this would become $67 or, $70 for the year, Judy?
Well, the whole idea is that we have, I think we
Well, you
have,
have the miscellaneous that's not
We have
changing and the receipts
3,000.
from delinquents, so.
just to give you an idea, I think we have,
I mean, can we take,
3,000.
if we took a 5-minute break, would you be able to go upstairs and just change these really quick?
Just to give you an idea, if you take.
Well, I'm saying, if you could just go rerun these on
I
their
could
cell
run it.
really
I
quick,
could
we take a
run it.
5-minute break.
But just to give you
And-
an idea what overall cost is, whatever you're trying to raise, like say you want to raise $1 million, you can divide that by your household. We have 3,459, that gives you an idea as to what it's going to be per
Okay.
household.
Could we go upstairs and
Yeah, sure.
rerun it? Can we run it
Make
with
the
0
2
surplus and
0,
1.1
okay.
million surplus?
So, the 2.2 is a reduction of the overall surplus, correct?
Yes, yes.
If we take out, if we make the surplus 0, do we know what the surplus is?
I think we're 4.2 right now, I believe.
It's 4.2.
Right.
So to make it 2 million surplus.
4.2 right now,
So you'd have 2 million in
that's
surplus.
the total, 4.2.
So
That includes the million for the school sale too, Bob?
No, that's just surplus.
That's just
that's
surplus,
just
okay.
surplus from our operation from year to year.
Okay.
So we're at 4.2. You're
So you'd have about
proposing.
2 million left.
See, my thought process is, well, let's see it with 0, because, I mean, we've had 3 years of tax decreases, but I think now we have to see what the, if the residents have to bite a little bit of the bullet in the 4th year, they might have to, and then there's 2.2 million plus the school is 3.2, which has to be used somewhere for this town, versus.
Well, we were originally said we were going to take some of that surplus and pay off the bands, so we didn't
No,
have to
but I know,
bond.
but this is what we
We need to
still don't
discuss,
have
yeah,
the schedule.
yeah.
But I'm saying if, we all have to bite the bullet on this budget to see what the increase is without that, then you've got 2.2 million, plus you have 3.2 million to put into.
The capital plan,
Right.
put it into a capital plan, yeah.
DMF, you
And
can build the building
ideally,
whatever you want.
if you have 10% of your operating budget for your surplus, you're good.
I think 2
So
million
10% is
fine.
1.3 for us.
So 2 million's fine.
Where do we, like,
I think so.
what has it been as high as?
8?
No, it was as high
You had
as
about
5.
6, you had, I think, 6 at
5
one
to
point,
6
5
million.
to 6, I think.
The
1.5.
was, the 8 million.
Oh, included the school and all that stuff?
But just operation, I think you had about
So
6
up and
million
up
at one
last
time.
year, the surplus was 5,262,000 for the 2018.
And I think there was one year it was around a little over 6, I think.
Close to it, plus the million was 7, plus all this other stuff was about 8 million.
Yeah, it was 8. I remember you saying it was about 8.
That's with everything, though, not just surplus.
Yeah, well, let's see what Judy can run.
All right, so want me to put 0 in the surplus?
0 and 1.1 in the surplus, please.
What,
You got it.
Gentlemen, can we take a 5-minute break?
would you just mind?
Oh, sure.
0, 1, and 2?
Oh, you want to do 0, 1, and 2? That's fine.
Because then it's
Yeah,
easy to
that's
figure out.
perfect, that's fine.
Incrementals.
I was just cutting it in half because we put 2.2.
Very nice.
So gentlemen, 5-minute break, and we'll have Judy come down in 5 minutes and give us the numbers.
Sounds good.
Do you want to say your TV recorders?
No, I went to Steve. All right, gentlemen, we're back. Mr. Tovo, Mrs. Curran, you have new numbers?
Newspapers.
Which one's this now?
This is with
I
the, this
keep
is using
passing.
1.2 million?
I gave that one away. Can I have some more?
Sorry.
Thank you, Judy.
Did you copy the other one, Bob?
I did.
You did, okay. Do you have that, so you
200
need this
plus,
one?
Mike. Yep. 3,200,000 plus.
Bucks, yeah.
He's got mine.
When I took the whole thing, that goes up to almost 500.
No, it's more than that, Bob.
It's 252.
I only have one sheet. How many sheets
There's
do we
only
have?
one sheet.
I still have
There's
this
one
one.
number.
Oh, Bob has another one.
One at a
This
time.
one,
One at a time?
So we're
Man, I
looking at
want
the
this
1-2 now. We're looking at the 1-2, using 1-2.
How much money
You go
are we
up
giving?
252 if you go up to 1-2.
So if we only use $1.2 million of the surplus.
On this sheet?
Yeah. If you only use $1,200,000 here instead of the 2.2,
Okay,
you go up 252.
It's about $200 or so per million.
Yes.
and that's on a,
Remember, this excludes our capital plan.
Yep.
and it excludes the
Bob, I think
capital. What's the
that's-
impact
so-
of the capital, dare I
I'm
ask?
comparing the 252 to
Oh,
the
excellent.
negative, to the
Negative
reduction.
37,
So that's a
This is like a
swing
good
of,
game show. that
Oh, it's a
keeps-
big swing.
280,
yeah,
Almost 300 bucks.
290.
so.
Wow.
Sorry, to hand it out.
If we go to 0, it's 600.
No, we ain't
Per
going
year.
to, we ain't going to 0.
per year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
And
it's
like-
150 a
like
quarter.
we're saying, the capital is not in here, so if you're looking at doing, we were talking about the 10 million,
We don't stand
I mean,
for
that's
election
over,
for
maybe
almost
20-year
3 years.
period, but you still have to have.
30-year period.
Well, 30, well, yeah, I don't know, that depends upon the bond market.
I wouldn't bond
think
for
I need
30
to
years,
look.
I wouldn't
I
support
said-
that.
No,
They're
I
wonderful.
think you gotta look
I
at
love it.
15 or 20.
There's a capital
My
building
father used to carry.
of 6,
God bless him.
even the fire truck, you might,
No, I'm saying the building should be 30, but yeah, the other stuff, yeah, it's
less
15, 20, yeah. Because you don't have that useful life out of it, yeah.
and to permanently bond 6 million that has been rolled over for the past X number of years, I mean, half that stuff
Should have
doesn't
been paid
exist
for,
anymore.
yeah.
I don't know if we should really agree about rolling over that 6 million, we have to look about that, because I agree with you, a lot of it's old. Maybe we can pay some of that even off, if we have a good year.
Well, I think,
Too bad we can't make 15% on
So-
some of this money.
based on the current expenses, and if we were to use 1.2 million of the current surplus, we're looking at an increase of $252 for the municipal portion without factoring in our capital plan.
So it's $63 a quarter.
Or school or county.
Yes.
And those are usually a little bit larger than what we do.
And the school here goes up, I was comparing from year to year, they're averaging over 3% each year. And I think they're about 25 million to begin with.
That was the referendum that was passed a couple of years
25
ago.
million. Their
About
operating
25
budget is
million.
over 60.
Yeah, but it's split into 2 towns, so
Yeah, yes, you're correct.
so our portion is 25 million. So we have to make a decision, gentlemen, do we want to go with the 1.2 or the 2.2?
What was the 0?
It was
$600.
almost
It
$600.
was
See
$599.
that?
It's
Please.
like you said, it's almost something about, it's, yeah, 250.
Just review it, me and the other people, what happens? We stage this out, and then we run it out, and then there's no muss.
Well, the
Right,
surplus is
right.
running out. I mean, the surplus is running out, yeah.
Yeah, but we keep on building it every year, we're getting,
Yeah, but what did we replace it last year? How much did we bring in last year in surplus?
So what happened?
Was it 1.5 million?
You had 5.2 less 2.2 is 3, you got 1.2 million back.
Okay.
Don't forget, the reserve for uncollected taxes or whatever, that thing.
Is that huge number that we have to budget for, but it's not really there?
right.
That comes right in, and I think, I
We
don't
budget
know
for
if you
that,
had a
but-
chance to look at that.
So then the 2.2 is not so in theory, the 2.2, we're only using $1 million out of the surplus because we replenished $1.2 million last year of it, was saying Bob, right? If we were to use
We added
2.2,
1.2 million.
yeah. So I'm saying, so if we use 2.2 of it this year, we technically only using $1 million.
I'm not sure yet.
Say again?
These are
If we go with the 2.2 million, right? We replaced $1.2 million of it last year in surplus
Well, I
because of
think,
that uncollected tax
my
return.
feeling is we should work backwards, which is, how much do you want to leave? My suggestion would be 2 million. And then you have, so that leaves you with 2.2 million, the school is a million, so that's 3.2 million of cash. Besides these other little things, it's probably another $500,000, so. So it's $3.2 million of cash. So now what? How much do we put in, not put in, do we use it to,
Well, we pay off the bands as much as, I think you gotta pay off those bands, because like Mike said, some of those bands don't even exist in town anymore, we're still paying,
no, I know, but this is what we need, some sort
well, we have
of-
to make a decision on what we wanna do. I mean, that's really what it boils.
2% annual come in, and where do we stand with that, with this budget?
We're way below.
We are.
Way below.
And I'm sorry, Judy, before we move off of this, the 242.
Where's that new one? Who's got copies of the last,
I don't
Yeah,
have
who was working
the
around that was-
zero.
can we keep passing it
Did
down?
we,
Can we pass that
did
down?
we not?
Yeah, this is the
The
zero.
non-recurring,
Well, you gotta take care.
the 242,
Right.
what was that?
Very much.
I'm sorry?
There was a prepayment of taxes, and when that happened, you're allowed to anticipate. and
Oh, it's a dash, it's not a zero, okay. Oh, that's a good healthy number.
It came out of your appropriations, and shouldn't have, so it goes back
Right.
in.
We paid it in 18 for 19?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, no, $63. It's not so terrible.
$1 a day? No, even less.
It's 90 days.
Yeah.
$60, so it's about 66 cents a day.
I think,
That's not more than most of us little old seniors can survive on. For all the increased services.
I'm okay with the 2.2 coming out of reserve.
I still think we have to layer
Do we
everything
need
in
to
before we
save
make
it
that
for?
decision.
I don't think
I
you can
think we
do
have
it.
to start bringing that down.
You can't make the decision until you layer everything in.
There's,
Let's work at the capital.
Yeah, let's look at the capital, let's go back to the capital.
Because this is a number that doesn't
Yeah, it
matter
doesn't mean
what it is
anything at this point until we know the capital. So Judy, have we talked to Beinfeld about if we were to go out with the 10 million and the 6 million in bonds right now that we have in capital for 2019, what effect that would have?
He was telling me that the interest that's out there for the bands in the long term, there's not much of a difference right now. And he said, according to Frankie Stallman, had said, do you really want to do a long-term financing for 6 million, especially if some of it's old? He suggested that you come in, have a meeting with us again, all of us.
But when, because we gotta get this budget
Yeah,
passed, I mean, we
he said
can't.
he's available. He said, just give him a call, he'd come in and talk to us. He said he would also recommend having when they come in and then really
Tell them
strategy.
to come tomorrow.
Can it come tomorrow? I know it's late notice, but,
I mean, I can call and say,
Call him.
you know,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we can call him and see if we can get him here tomorrow, because we gotta get this budget done, it's getting into
but
April.
the other, we still haven't, if I'm not mistaken, haven't addressed the funded but not spent part of the 6 million. I
Right.
mean, so we keep saying 6 million, if we funded it but didn't spend it, what are we going to actually bond? What's the number we're looking at? Are there items we can take off the top?
well, especially, like when you renew the bands, there's probably some that go back and sold like longer, and there's small amounts, like maybe some is 10, 15, 20, some of those you just want to get rid of, you want to just pay them down.
But that's what we need to know.
Right.
So,
And I might have my own, I did an analysis on
But-
that for him too, and see if he agrees with it. I mean, he is your bond counsel.
But Judy, right now, that $6 million is a liability, right? We don't owe less than 6
Oh, no,
million
no,
in
no,
bands,
you
right? We owe $6 million in bands.
But
yeah, but
So am I misunderstanding what you're saying, Mike?
we funded 6 million, so we have.
We spent 6 million.
we spent,
No.
right, in other words, you had to borrow 6 million for your capital needs, but
We-
what happens is
But did
that-
we spend all of that 6 million? I thought we had,
Yeah, last year we had
Cash.
529 of funded unused ordinances.
Yes. So it's 5.5 million, let's just
Then
say.
what- No, we had well, let's stay with this for a minute. We had 529,000, this is what I sent to you. We had 529, I sent to everybody actually, but we had 529,000 last year, less what we canceled in 18. I don't know how much we canceled in 18, which was funded unused. So if you look, I don't know about financial statements. Does anybody have financial statements?
I left my phone at home.
I have mine here.
No, the audit ones from last year.
Oh, from last year, no.
Well, when you're borrowing your bands, the whole idea is you have to look how much left is in your cash account, because you're borrowing your bands to pay down those projects, what project you have going on.
But we borrowed $6 million last year as
You borrowed
well.
$6 million. I would imagine
No,
that
we-
you probably
no.
did spend most of that money. We have to look how much money's in the capital cash
So,
account.
yeah. I mean, I spelled this out page by page. If you go to the financials and you go to page 82, you're going to tie into this number. I don't have the financials.
Yeah, but this number does not mean cash.
Yes, it does.
No, it does not.
Well, it
When you
means you
can-
can cancel this and use it against capital and other
You
amounts.
cancel it, however, the only thing is though, you have to see that if that was not funded, that money does not become available to you.
It was, no, these are funded and unused.
Well, I was told.
This
by-
was all
I was
funded-
told by Lou May that was all taken care of, and what you have
No.
today is what you have.
I
That's
don't
what he
believe
told
that's,
me.
I don't believe that's the case.
Well, I did ask him that.
Okay,
I
oh,
did-
we
I
could- we could clarify
That's
that.
what he did tell
Well,
me.
here, if
Because he
you,
said there was very little room to cancel any other ordinances, he told me.
Because I thought the
19.
exercise that they undertook was only looking at like the first 8 years of the ordinances, not, the last
that way
10.
back. Okay.
Because those, and
Well, we'll look- I'll
maybe
look
there's a
and see that.
misunderstanding or a lack of clarity, but, I think the issue is, in my mind, the issue is that we have we funded 6 million. I think there's unfunded, I think there's unspent, funded but
But
not
when you
used.
say fund 6 million, that's not funded at this point. It's a temporary financing. It's a
Yes.
temporary borrow. It's not funded.
But we're borrowing, we're temporarily in the short-term market going out and borrowing $6 million.
Right.
My thing is that we haven't spent, so we haven't expended $6 million.
So
We've
why would we
expended
borrow?
$5.5 million.
Oh, perhaps. I mean, you may have 500,000 left in your cap, that could be, but
Okay, so-
I doubt that if you borrowed 6 million, that you have 2 or 3 million sitting around. in your cap.
Definitely not, definitely not.
so if we look at this schedule, I tied it back to the financials last year, 529,000. So in,
Okay, so
here,
let's see what's next.
so this is 144,000 from '09. Go ahead, keep going. This is funded, right?
This is the
Yeah,
one that we had the
yeah.
problem with, that we had to cancel, right here.
I don't know.
Remember the 223? That was the
No,
big
but that was,
controversy?
yeah, but this here, this number here, 529, that was funded and unused. So there was 529 that we funded and unused. We had 144 from 2009. What year is this? This is 2008 through 13 various stuff, which we don't know. That's a small amount there. Then we come into here, the biggest amount we have is various improvements in 1704. But that was part of this one we did as part of the firehouse. So if you take out 300, you have at least 2 and change,
Yeah, but he's telling me here, okay, that you have this funded, okay?
and unused. This, look here, just go,
You spent 77.4, you spent this,
no, this one here, this is.
right. You mean the 301 here? You
No,
talking about
this,
one?
this total, 529 is what we have funded and unused. So if you go back to here, there's $144,000 from 2009 that we funded and we haven't used and done anything with
Yeah, but
it.
this was the one that we had with the grant, the problem? That's gone.
Yeah, but there's 144 here.
Yeah, but the problem was that we had spent, but we didn't get back in that grant money. That's the one that we had the big controversy about, just
Yeah, but
months
then,
ago.
did we fund the 223?
No, unfunded. That's the
Right.
one we had to
No,
cancel.
this is, right, and then this one here, we funded and we never used, the 144. You have to sit with Lou on this stuff.
No, but look, this is, remember the 223.5, this was cleared out, we went over this. This is a done deal. That's the one we had the problem go from way
Where
back
did that
when.
go? Where'd the 144 go?
That might have been funded, but look what was unfunded,
Okay, you have to
okay?
sit.
You have to look at this, you're starting out at 490.
Okay, Bob, can I ask
If
you
you
a
bring back
question?
the
Bob,
original
if
amount.
we make a fair assumption that we owe $5.5 million in liabilities, whether it's $6 or $5.5 million, right? We
Yeah.
have to make a decision
Well-
as a council. Well, but
Yeah,
it's
that's fine.
not 6 or 4,
That's fine.
it's 6 or 5.5, right? So let's just call it 5.5 if your chart is correct, which I'm sure it's pretty accurate if it's still the same.
Depends on what was used, yeah.
So we're looking at $5.5 million or $6 million. So we have to make a decision. Do we take, the remainder of the surplus to 2 million and use that to pay off some of those bands and then reduce the total number of 15.8 to something else? Because that's what Mr. Beinfeld needs to know and Mr. May needs to know. And I guess Judy needs to know, correct?
No, I just want to say, when I spoke with Mr. May, what he recommended was that we're looking at these
This
two
is
ordinances,
17, don't
17.
forget.
We don't know if these items here are complete. 17, we don't know. So if you don't know if these items are complete, you don't touch these at all. We might
I
have-
agree with you
We
on
might have
that.
the possibility of canceling this.
I
And the
still
big
think-
number is here,
Right,
okay?
I agree.
So we wouldn't even look at that. So you're looking at
I
maybe
agree.
10, maybe 22,000.
You gotta just verify this guy up here. There's 20,000 there and this 144.
This guy I know is no good. That's what we just took care of. Remember we had all those meetings
I
about
know how it was
the
done.
grant receivable?
Okay, so-
I don't remember all that.
So Judy,
Luke
what do
can
you
tell
think our total exposure is? Is it like 5.8, 5.5 million for these bands?
5.8.
5.8, let's call it 5.8,
Let's call it 5.8, but
all right?
probably,
So 5.8 plus 10.342, right? Is 16,142.
So 17.
16,142. So if we just divide that by your number of households, I think we have 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, but you can't because you're going to bond it over 20 years,
Right,
30
but
years.
you get that and you divide it by the 20
By the
years. you
number
get
of
the
years.
total
16,1
amount is
16,142 divided by how many houses?
3, 4, 5, 9.
3,459 is $466.67.
Now, when you get 10 million divided by,
No, 16,142, hold on. let me-
16 million divided by 3, 4, 5, 9,
16,142
you're gonna get more than that.
divided by, what is it, 3459?
Yeah,
Is 4,666.
right.
Then
So
divide that by
over
20 or 30.
years,
Divided
that's
by
gonna be
20
your cost.
is it
Right,
$233?
I came up with about $200 in my mind upstairs.
Yeah.
And then we jump right into another 2.5 for next year, of which 1.5 is the ladder truck, which, I don't know if we're doing or not doing, but, we
may have to do, the construction of firehouse is going to take, 9 to 12 months, so we may not do it next year because the house won't be done by,
No, I understand that, but my thing is, money is cheap. The Fed has indicated that their cadence is slowing. One increase this year, maybe none next year.
Oh, but wait, we're not taking into account the $780,000 that we're paying on our long-term debt right now, which would
That's
be.
gonna be done.
Yeah, but we could use that 780 to offset the future bond. Basically, it's gonna replace it. We're not gonna, we're gonna pay off a credit card, and we're gonna keep the same payment, but we're gonna enter into a new bond. Understand what I'm saying? So that 780 has a significance in the number. It's not 233 because next
What
year,
are you referring to?
what's our bond payment this year?
440.
Oh, excuse me, it was more last year. So that $500,000, if we keep it next year, it's gonna have an offset in that
Yeah, in other
60.
words, like if you know that you have 440 now, and you say, okay, I have.
So if you do 440 divided
budget.
by, so if you did 440,000 divided by, what is it, 3459?
Right.
That's $127. So really, your 233 now is 106.
Right, mm-hmm.
Does everybody understand what I'm saying?
Yes, mm-hmm.
Did you ever see the schedule I actually did? It was a 10-year plan.
Yes,
And what
yes.
she did was she took everything, she laid it out, 10 years, and said, I want to make my cash payments fairly equal or close to the 440 that we were paying.
Yes.
So, the bands, I think, go 10 years, and then you have the
Yes,
bond or something.
yes,
Anyway, she had, her thought process, which Mike and I go back and forth on, but her thought process was to ban it for now, look at it, and then there was an even cash flow of about $400,000 to $500,000 a year. I can dig it up if you don't have it.
No, I think well, I agree. I think that you should ban for a while. I think you should
Well, that's
ban
what she
part of
was
it
saying.
and then borrow, like I would ban the 6 and then borrow it and then long term for the 10.
What, I mean,
But the bands are, we're putting a Band-Aid, a ban is a Band-Aid. We're not getting rid of the debt. We have stuff that we're banning from 1997.
Yeah, the only thing
I mean,
is
it's a
though-
horrific, it's a 10, we've been told 10 years, and our audit has never said to get rid of these things. They're
But you
20,
might-
30 years
But you
old.
might be able to, if you have a good year, you might be able to raise some money and actually pay part of that ban down. And then if the rates do decrease, you'll get a better rate when you go out to bond them.
rates aren't going down.
I'm saying if they do, I don't, I mean, right now, they're close.
Yeah, but we're playing with fire. What if the rates do go up? Then we're gonna get
No,
slammed.
I agree, I mean, listen, that's why I said, I mean, I talked to Beinfeld, he said, it's something you've got to decide, I mean.
But you can
there's
change
really more
bands
to
to
do.
bonds anytime you want, right? If
You
you
can, the
do
only thing
10
is-
years and next year we say we want to bond everything, we can do that.
Right, the only thing is when you go out for a bonding is a little more costly than a band,
No, I
because you have to
understand.
pay for the bond rating, that's every issue that you get.
So if we were
lawyers charge
to,
you
if we
more.
were to do like what Mike was saying, if we do the bands, let's just say paying the bands off in 10 years as a bond, and then do the firehouse, we're gonna get hit with double costs, right? Because we're gonna have an attorney for the 10-year bond, and an attorney for the 25-year bond on the buildings
Yeah,
and
well,
stuff like that.
His cost is about 13,000, I mean, the
Oh, so it's
rating-
minuscule,
the
it's
rating
not-
is about 13,000.
Okay, all right, so
He
so
said-
we did what Mike was saying, it's not gonna increase our cost by
Oh, no, not
100,000,
crazy,
it's
no,
minimal.
nothing like that, no, and then he said his cost, like, say, I don't know what he charges for a band issue, but he said, his cost for a bond issue would be 3 times the band issue, but I mean, I could look up what he charges for the band.
But I mean, how many times
It's
are we gonna
minimal in the
ban
grand
something
scheme of
from,
things. It's minimal
Oh,
in the
it's
grand
small,
scheme of
yeah.
can
things.
you guys push your mics back? Now they're saying you're too loud.
Oh, it's small in the scheme of things.
Mr. Bruno also.
But, so,
I get loud when I talk that.
so we're throwing out 10 million permanent bonding, potentially. Do we want to bond a $5,000 in monitors for 20 years?
Yeah, see, I would only bond the big things, like the 6 million, I wouldn't bond the small things.
Yeah, like the paint machine, we're not gonna bond the paint machine for 20 years for $7,200.
I mean, some of these things you
It's
might
in
just be
here.
able.
I know, well, that's what we have to
some of
discuss,
these
that's why
things
we're
you
talking
might be
about it,
able
Mike.
to even raise just in, like we were talking about maybe even buying a car or something like that, some of these small ones, we could raise that in the regular budget.
I think the bleachers was the only thing I was looking at
No.
to do anything with. Everything else we should pay. It was what, another 50,000?
No, the bleachers are 80,000, they gotta be
No,
Like
Okay.
the
updated.
road
bleachers.
program,
So
550,
you
the
got-
land, 400.
No, that's a
the
retrofitting,
second
which they
page. Go to
figured
the
out they
second
can't.
page. Right, so the second page, under the 6 million.
Oh, we gotta
I
cheap
I
the
would
price,
only do
okay,
these
good.
two.
I said keep the bleachers and pay for everything else. Because the bleachers will last forever, but the other stuff we should just pay. So it's 30, 40, 50, 100,
I would pay all
110,000.
those little ones down.
Well, we found 27,000, we have 27,000 tonight, we already took out, right, gentlemen? We took out the 22 for Town Day and the 5,000 the other salary item. So 27 is already, could be transferred into the budget without any impact. So if we gotta find another 75 grand, it's still better than bonding this stuff for 20, 25 years. It just doesn't make sense.
All right, so,
That's what I mean, that's what I would think about doing.
the other thing I'd like to know, once and for all, we have an unemployment reserve for
I
221,000.
found out about that, we cannot touch it, only for unemployment. Got the email right from the state.
We got stuck with that.
But is there an expense that we can start knocking it out with?
Well, that's it, any unemployment that comes, it has to.
So we have to, so people have to bill us for that much unemployment before we can knock that out. That's insane.
I mean,
It's gonna be there forever.
15,000 a year, yeah.
You're not gonna have to have an employment in your current budget for a long time.
I mean,
Excuse me, Mr. Bruno and Judy, you need to move them closer.
Oh, we were too
Closer.
far away before, we were too close before, rather.
oh, I'm sorry, I misread.
Okay.
So that, we can't do anything with
No,
that.
I told them to move them further away.
you can't do anything with that, unfortunately.
Okay, so let me just
So
go,
gentlemen, what do we want to move from capital for 2019? Let's make a decision so Judy knows what the actual number should be from Mr. Beinfeld and Mr. May.
All
So,
these little small ones.
so the
like
7,200 should
24,
definitely, the
50.
7,200 should be moved, right? The paint machine, right?
If we do the small ones here, minus the
Or the monitors.
110.
Do you want to say like anything 20 grand or under, or 25 grand and under?
147. So you should take, my opinion would be, if you go to page 1 under police, the 25, the 5,000, and then DMF 7,200.
So that's page 1, right?
That's page 1. So
Yeah.
that's
25 and the
37,
five, right?
25, 5, and 72 comes off page 1.
That's just my
Yeah,
opinion.
all right, I'm okay with that.
37, 2. And then the
No, we're
second
gonna move them
page-
into the budget, because it's, we're not
The
bonding,
second page, everything,
except the bleachers.
Except the bleachers and the
That's
detention.
110,000.
Yeah, so 110,
So now I'm on page 2.
110 and 130, so it's $147,200.
We okay with that, gentlemen?
That would be my suggestion for now.
No. So what's up with the road program? The 550, we had talked about keeping it at, I think we've been spending 7.
Well, we're gonna go back and pull out all the money that we haven't spent in all those years, Mike, and add it to it this year.
To bring it up to 7,
Do we
hopefully.
know what that is?
I think Mr. Tovo was
It's
working
gonna be
on
at
it.
least 100,
I think it's more than that.
So,
maybe.
Can we have that for tomorrow, you think?
I'll try.
You'll try? All right. As long as you say you'll try, I mean, that's all we need to do.
I still don't know what the, and I guess it's, are we having closed session on this other 400K?
Yes.
Yes.
We're gonna have closed session tonight. As soon as we finish with this capital, we'll go into close for a few minutes.
They're on the agenda.
Yes, it's on the agenda.
The Class 7, I mean, they have the DMF has 2 brand-new trucks that are 2 years old, if that.
Okay.
I mean, are we going to bring a third one on right away and have 3 trucks?
Well, this was the rack truck to be able to bring the chipper around and all that. This is the
Multiple bodies
this is
on
the
it.
multiple body truck. It could be used during leaf season, it could be used for chipping, it could be used for branches, all that stuff.
Give them, I say give them one of the 2 trucks. The rack truck makes the most sense. Like Mr. Ullman said, we got so many vehicles out there, but not enough people to use them.
I
I know we
don't,
knew-
I don't,
I know-
I don't agree, I don't agree with that
It's not
statement.
always a one-to-one ratio.
I don't-
I understand that, but there's a lot of vehicles out there. And if you want to reduce the budget, they don't need I really don't think they need another pickup truck. I
So you wanna
understand they
move-
want to use.
So we'll move the pickup truck to a different year, that's all. We'll
Move
put
it over
Yeah,
and get the rack truck. The rack truck's important
the rack truck's very important.
to me. I mean, I don't like the price,
What
but
do you move
it's
that-
important.
So we're moving the
That's a 20?
48,000
Personally,
to
I would move
21?
it, I would move it over 1 year.
2020?
Get to 20.
Doesn't matter where you move it, really, just so you
Yeah.
have.
I would move it over. I don't care where you put it.
Do we want to, so the police car,
Can we move that to, well, I have it moved already. I have the police already moved to
It's
2021.
moved over to 20.
No, they
it's
want
two
2.
cars.
they
Oh,
want
that's 2
two.
different cars.
They want 2, one in 19 and one in 20, I think,
Well, they can get
right?
one in 20 and one in 21.
So
But
what,
they also get 2 cars also, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
so
that'd be
that's-
3
that's
cars,
3 cars,
4
so-
cars, yeah. So
No.
why don't we move
I'd move it,
We got Mark
that one
Carter.
over to 21.
so
to
this is,
21?
they get, we purchase 2 new patrol cars every year, correct?
Correct.
So 2 new cars, we lease 2 detective cars,
A chief and a detective car.
chief and a detective.
Yeah.
And when are those leases coming up? Is this accurate? Or they expire at the same
I
time?
think they're up first quarter of next year.
They expire within a couple of months of each other,
Yeah.
it would be in 2020.
And we would not release them, obviously. And what's the idea? Is that they will retain these for how long?
7-year plan.
Well, why couldn't we can't buy the leases back right now, Bob?
I wouldn't buy the lease back on these Hyundais.
Yeah.
They were never suited for what they're doing.
Oh, this was not the right vehicle.
It was
No.
it was a mistake to
Completely wrong
get them.
vehicle.
So a 7-year plan,
Buyout, it's not a dollar buyout.
Oh, it's not a dollar buyout. Oh, so we got really taken
Yeah.
on this
We
deal.
did.
Right,
We got the wrong car and the bad
Yes,
buyout. So it's an
correct.
open-ended lease
Right.
with the wrong car.
correct.
Huh, glad
so
we made that deal.
the 7 years, does it stay as a frontline car for the chief and the detective for 7 years?
I believe that's their intent.
Well, generally speaking, any backline vehicles such as the chief or DB cars, you'll get 5 years of active life out of them and 5 years of secondary life out of them.
Okay.
So we're moving the Class 2 pickup truck to 2020, gentlemen. and the unmarked police package chief and detective to 2020 and 2021. Okay, then we're going to move the 25 and the 5 and the 7,200 into budget.
Budget?
Mike, just one second.
Sure.
If one of these cars expires in 2019, don't we have to replace it?
No, they both expire next year, first quarter next
2020.
year.
20.
So we're bumping, it'll be 90,000 in 2020. It
Well, we
won't
could
be,
lease another car, the right cars maybe, it'd be cheaper,
We could.
you know? I mean, at this point, to spend 90,000, the lease payments aren't going to be, if we lease the right cars and we lease it correctly with a closed-end lease, it may be to our benefit.
Yeah, I recommend we look at our entire fleet for that too,
Correct.
you know?
I think the lease deals are not as, but for now, we're stuck in the lease because we don't own the car, so
Right.
we don't, you know, we've entered into the age that leasing is, but we never have anything that we own, so.
Well, they should be, you know, in a proper budget, they should all be leased to buys.
Lease to buys, which we didn't do for some reason. So we saved $100 a year, a month, but we're paying for it at the end because
Correct.
the open-end lease, you have nothing. Correct. So thank you again. Past sins of the past. Anything else, Mike, on page 1? So we're going to move the 48 to 2020, the 45 to 2021. We're going to get rid of 25, 5, and 72 on page 1, move it into the budget. On page 2, we're going to move the 10, 20, 10, 10, 25, 25, and 10 into the budget also. Correct, Judy? Okay.
So,
Anything else?
You give
And
me
then we'd ask
those,
Mr. Beinfeld and Mr.
10,
May.
20, and 20?
Everything but the 62.
Everything
on
else but the
page
62
one,
for
on
the
page
Oh,
Oh, okay,
bleachers.
gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha.
in the revised preliminaries that you've received from the architect, is 6 million still a good number?
Yes,
It is,
And when is that being presented?
April 1st.
next Monday.
And are we going to see anything before then, or are we
Yeah,
just going
yeah,
to
they put
sit
the
there?
finishing touches on it.
You'll have it
To
for
us
your
beforehand.
package this weekend, Mike.
Yes, and I'm hoping even before that.
Well, I prefer not to see it on Monday.
No, they should have it before that.
You'll have it for the package this weekend, correct? Is that-
Or sooner,
Or soon?
yeah.
So
It could
they
be
had
as
a
soon as Wednesday.
presentation.
We did
to-
not have a presentation, Mike. It was their working committee meetings. They were not presentations. We were programming space for the departments, for the police, for the fire department and the ambulance corps. It was not a presentation.
Okay.
And I responded to your email before that clarified that it was not a presentation. We've been having working dialogue meetings with the committee that have programmed the space. We've revised spaces, we've added spaces, we've taken spaces away. We've reconfigured the building based on both the ambulance corps needs and the fire department needs.
Smaller.
We've condensed it, correct,
just
Mr.
wanted to
Ullman.
make
No, I agree with you. That is a very valuable statement. That
Absolutely
we've
right.
downsized the building based on the initial, but we have not made any presentations to
The
anybody.
ambulance side and the fire side.
Yes.
Both sides.
Does anybody know what the improvements to the public library, what they're looking for?
They get a percentage automatic.
Well, staying on fire presentation, Mike, so
I'm sorry.
if we have it in the packet, the renderings for Friday, which I guess Mr. Mayor, right, we were supposed to have them by Friday?
I'm sorry, I was distracted for a moment.
Well, I want to stay on Mike's topic, because
Okay.
we keep we're talking about this presentation over and over. We have not had any presentations. It's been
No.
working dialogue meetings.
Correct.
And if we have it by Friday, which is what Mr.,
Yeah, that should be the outside,
it should be in our packet for Friday night.
yeah. But if it comes sooner.
If it comes sooner, we'll have
get
it
out.
sooner.
Mhm.
Anything else on that, Mike?
No, did the
The
chief
library-
meet with the insurance?
He has, I have received, he did meet with the insurance. He will not give us, he says individually, homeowners should reach out. There is a cost impact to the age of the apparatus. It varies by insurance company, so he said you need to reach out to your insurance company. I have an email which I asked the chief if I can disseminate it to the rest of the council. I did make a request for the chief to have the gentleman come into us, but he can't because he's contractually obligated by the state and he can't come to a presentation. But he did give us he gave us like a summary of how it works, of how the ISO ratings work.
And the GIF has no input as to level of equipment or anything like that?
Because it's
That was
based on
looked
your
into
homeowner's
also?
insurance. State Farm has one guideline, New Jersey Manufacturers has another guideline, but there is an impact involved with it, Mike.
Did they give us, what's being presented?
Wait, we're changing, are we talking
No,
about
no,
insurance, or are we talking about?
In terms of the chief meeting with the regulator, the insurance,
He came and did an audit of all our vehicles and everything.
and did he give us a rating?
He just started, it's just, that was the first meeting he had when he came and told us that.
And,
We will have a rating, I guess, in a few, I don't know how long it takes to complete his report. I don't have.
so we don't know the impact of going with 3 machines, 3 trucks versus 4 trucks, or?
That was never taken, it's based on age and how much we have at present day. I mean, their recommendation is that we stay status quo, right? I mean, that's the recommendation
Yeah.
that the chief and the director made the last meeting, right?
Understood.
I mean, for some of the equipment, we're also hoping to get some money in grants. but
Correct, we have a
can't-
grant
can't
consult-
count on it, but we're hoping.
We're hoping for the firehouse that the grant consultant can come up with some money, and the equipment, we can come up with some grants.
Is your shared services that you and Mona are working on include any of this?
For fire?
Fire, DMF, police?
Fire,
sanitation,
no.
fields?
DMF, no. There's talk about court, but that wasn't really going far. I think the big things we talked about was fiber optic networking with different towns. The other one, Art, was, obviously everyone wants to get along with
Bob, are
dispatch,
you-
but we know that dispatch is not going to happen.
Right.
Those are your 2 biggest cost savings. We talked about electronic recycling again.
Yes.
We're going to entertain maybe that same contract and thing we had last time with them. But those were the biggies. Basically the fiber optic network with Westwood Regional, Hillsdale, Emerson, and I think that was it, right? Or just those towns?
Emerson, Rivervale, possible partners,
Rivervale.
that's what she says.
Yeah.
So not a real shared services with anybody?
Recycling with.
Well, Bob, what
Westwood.
do you mean by real shared
What do you-
services?
No, we're not shared services, we talked about shared servicing,
Oh, the paving.
police, DMF,
Oh, paving,
fire,
paving, but we
trucks.
missed it.
I mean, I don't understand how you would have, I don't understand the shared services of fire truck and police.
I'm just asking the question. It's
No,
come up
but
several
you're
times.
saying real shared services versus Mr.
Yeah.
Cumming and Mr. Cassio's time that we've been spending on Thursday nights.
Yeah, that's fine. That's
You know,
fine.
if,
I'm talking about shared services that are substantially savings to the town.
The biggest one for savings to the town would be going with a dispatch. That's the biggest one, but that's the hardest one to get through.
You wouldn't save it
Okay?
down.
Huh?
You wouldn't save it down.
Oh,
Going rate in Bergen County is about $250,000 as a contractor now. That's about where we're at.
again, we don't have a history right now of what it would be.
but it's not on, I just want
But
to, it's not on the
it's
table.
even
It's not on
so
the
that's-
table.
But if there's going to be a big savings, that would be your biggest savings.
And,
But that's not on
and
the
at this
table.
point, until Bob just said it, I didn't think fire and police were on the table because this council has never discussed it until now. I know Mike has discussed fire going to shared services, and the fire department told us that that would be a very difficult thing to do because how do you have mutual aid with a town when you have no equipment? And what if they're at a fire, how would they supply shared services if they're at a fire of their own? You know,
I did not discuss or did not suggest that we do a shared service with another town. I had asked if our mutual aid agreement, especially in light of a ladder truck, was adequate. And there is a ladder truck in Westwood, there's a ladder truck in Paramus by the Orange Lantern, that are in close proximity. And my question is, do we need to spend, or do we need to purchase a ladder truck for
$1.5 million.
$1.5 million? and build a firehouse to support it? Or are there other options? I mean, yes, I think everyone would like fire, police, ambulance in excess capacity. I think it's our job to figure out, as elected officials, what the appropriate amount is, and we certainly can get input from the chief of police, the chief of the fire department, the volunteer ambulance, but at the end of the day, we have to, decide what we're comfortable committing to for the town. What I would say is that, if we could put a cop on every corner, it would be great. We wouldn't have to worry and get emails and Twitter feeds from the Washington Township Police to lock your doors, because there would be a cop on every corner and there'd be no crime. But we realize that's not feasible. I mean, we would like, a second firehouse, so the response time is next to nothing. That's not feasible. So, those are extremes, but, these are tough questions that need to be asked. And, I am not anti-cop, I am not anti-fire. I think, though, that someone needs to ask these questions.
And nobody's denying you asking those questions, but when we're talking, we're sitting, there's a lot of time that's generated by people on this council, to attend shared services meetings, and then to be said, well, these aren't real shared services. Well, I think everything, the mayor and I met with the county, we took it, we asked the council's permission to do a lot of shared services, which we've entered into, and it's the same people doing the same thing, but then we get questioned when we do it. And to get, slap in the face that these aren't real shared services, of course they're real shared services. We're
It's not
saying,
slap in the face. My question was very simple. When we talk shared services, I wanted to know what that was going to be.
no, but you said these aren't real shared services,
Right,
Bob. That was your exact
right,
comment.
Real financial savings.
But they are.
That's
We're
right.
saving,
That's
we're
right.
saving, thousands of dollars in
I agree.
fuel.
They're
We're
not
saving
real.
thousands of dollars in salt. We're trying to enter, we've taken
Yeah,
it
no,
on
that's
ourselves to
good.
come here on Thursday nights and
That's
take
good.
away from more family, but, they are real shared
Listen, I
services.
take time away from my family too. I'm just asking with shared services, we talked about things I could put a dent. That's the
DMF
question.
will not be shared.
Okay, so that's out.
Because most towns don't want to share it because they feel that it will not be an equal trade-off. They feel that it'll be in a town that their infrastructure is less sound than theirs, and most of those hours we spent in a town that is not infrastructure ready. That's how that shared service goes.
And
Unless you
second,
have both-
and
unless you have both- unless you have both towns.
Dr. Casco, let me interject one thing into that. If we go shared services with, let's just say DMF, right? And we enter into an agreement with Town Y, right? That shared services, we're gonna pound the hell out of their trucks. They're gonna have to buy new trucks, whatever it may be. Maybe our trucks become part of their fleet for the first couple of years.
It'll
But
be
eventually,
the same thing.
there's a capital outlay that's part of that shared services. So it's like, Mike, what you're saying is, if we go into a permanent mutual aid with Paramus and Westwood to use their truck, well, there's a dollar amount that we're gonna have to subsidize to pay for that truck. So if they paid $1.5 million and we say, hey, we're gonna always use your truck, they're gonna say, well, give us $500,000, right? So it's still a huge capital outlay. It's not like they're gonna say, well, you guys aren't gonna have a ladder truck, so every time you need one, we're gonna have to figure out how to get you a ladder truck. And the same thing goes with DMF. Like, they're gonna have to hire more people because now they got a whole nother town. So there's still a huge cost. So the shared services, it sounds great and almighty, but when you see what's going on with Montvale and Rivervale,
Yeah.
it's adding up that if they had two separate departments, it'd cost them the same amount of money because they needed more trucks in Rivervale to go in, or Montvale,
Probably
whatever.
better service.
And they get better services.
I mean, I would love to combine.
So it's not like we're gonna not spend $1.5 million on a ladder truck. We may spend half that, Mike, right? I mean, do you agree with that concept or no?
No, I agree that there is a cost to not purchase it, through that shared agreement or through that mutual aid agreement. But, we discount it out of pocket immediately. 30 years ago, 40 years ago, 50 years ago, when these houses were built, they were built at a certain specification. Building codes have changed. So, we have potentially new townhomes coming in on the Viviano, up the street on Van Emberg, there's a mid-rise going up, but they're going to be sprinklered, they're going to have built to the
Well, I disagree. Why would Viviano be
highest-
sprinkled?
the mid-rise?
The mid-rise would be, yeah.
You know, but Viviano, they'll be built to the highest standards. So, you know, I guess the question I have is, are we right-sized for, is the fire department right-sized for what they're called on to do? And, you know, if they are viewed, and I understand they are not there strictly to fight fires, that there is emergencies, storms that they support. But again, you know, could we do a fifth truck? And should we do a fifth truck? Or is...
But they haven't asked for that.
No, but should we? Because wouldn't that increase our response time? Because we've been told...
I think we've been told that they're right-sized the way they are, and they'd like to, that's what their command is saying. They've never asked for a fifth truck. They've actually come to the table and cut the house by significant amounts on their own.
Yes.
On their own.
Yes.
So, you know, it's,
So then the 6 million should be much less.
no, it's not, because there's still a lot of work to do there. It would have been, if we would have went with the original, they've come back and we've made it fit the site and made it
Fit the budget.
fit the budget, not fit the budget really, to make it work correctly for them, not to have space that's not
You
defined.
had quite a bit to say at the meeting
Yeah.
regarding fitting the budget.
Correct.
You addressed that
And
specifically.
so I don't think they've ever come out, I agree with, you know, your whole comment about putting a top on every corner, yeah, that'd be great, we just can't afford it, and nobody can. But to say, you know, they've told us that we need 2 pumpers, a ladder truck and a rescue truck and a chief's car, whatever it may be. I may be misspeaking, but I think those are the numbers. And the new plan is, they're not looking to add more. They've come back, we've reprogrammed spaces to make them more common spaces.
Usable by both.
By both, and everybody's come together to do that, and I don't think anybody's asking for more than what they need as departments.
We're trying diplomatically
Yeah.
to really limit the Shangri-La aspect, if I may say that, and keep it to just what is actually needed, will be functional, can be shared if possible.
If possible.
So that there are not duplications in common areas.
And we're not
Meeting
building
rooms.
this, we're not building a 50-foot tall structure, you know, we've gotten 1-story sides on both with a common center area for the building. You know, and that's just the way it's been.
Okay.
So Judy, if we could ask Mr., I know it's late, I don't think tomorrow is gonna be, it's gonna be kind of late for them to get here, but I guess,
What do we ask
What we
about
can
what
do though,
happens?
we can at least get his advice before tomorrow's meeting.
Correct.
For direction. So what I have for tomorrow is survey the old capital ordinances for road program money to add to this year's capital. Adjust the capital, adjust the current based on.
The
tonight's
capital
conversation,
increases, yeah.
right? Develop a new tax impact number and Beinfeld's input on capital spending plan.
between the bands, and if we'd go out with different bonds for 10 to get rid of the bands and 25 for the buildings and all the other improvements or something, right?
Correct.
So this way, we're gonna go out 2 different dates, so we're not bonding everything for 20, 25, 30 years.
Does that cover
Yes.
everybody's questions for tomorrow?
Going back to shared services, since we brought it up and Art and I were at that meeting, you know, we discussed the fiber optics with the towns. It would cost us about $250,000 to get on board. It might be less depending on if we get another partner. It
And
does-
as more people find out, I think we
Yeah,
will get more.
it does pay for itself in about 4 years, okay? Because right now, we're spending a lot of money, almost $40,000 to $50,000 a year for those services. And we could probably be base 0 by year 5. And then we have forever, other towns out in the Midwest, they're selling data services to their residents, or giving data services to the residents because the bandwidth is so overloaded now. If we have our own, we don't have to worry about bandwidth. So, I know we're talking about capital,
piggybacking the energy management on it,
Piggybacking your energy
and bringing
management.
our energy our LED public service program to Westwood.
Yeah, so I would ask you, since we're, it's only, what would it cost to fund $250 million? Initially, it's 5%?
Oh, it's in terms of like an ordinance, yeah, 5%.
5%. So,
Is it 77?
huh?
200.
200? If you want to consider, I think it's a nice place to start, and in 5 years, we'll be revenue neutral in that area. But that's
There was also a discussion on the road program, and I'm not even cognizant
We missed the
of
road
what the
program, so it's not
mathematics
even-
would be in the future. Is it,
The road program's touchy because it depends on who they contract with, and it seems every time we go with a co-op, we kind of get shoved to the
We get the
bottom.
end of it,
It's
because
a-
we're the new
we-
people. We're the new ones in
we're
the
new
co-op,
ones,
that's
so
why.
I was told that you don't save all that much going into the co-op. I mean, that's a relative statement, obviously, but
You
yeah.
gotta compare, oranges to oranges.
I didn't know.
Sometimes
I
there's
was
a
looking for a save.
2-inch
Whatever.
mill or inch-and-a-half mill and all that stuff, and the quality might be no better
can you
than
still get a
than I
good
would.
job that we?
Well, the argument they were trying to use this year is the more towns that went in,
The lower it should come down.
the more attractive it would be to a contractor
Right.
to give a priority to that
Exactly.
group.
So-
But that being said, the group might get priority, but where are
But
you on that?
where are you on the?
You're the new people on the
Right.
list, so you're gonna be the
So-
last, so
so-
that's,
Only
that.
3 towns went in on it, so.
When anyway, so anyway, that ship is sailed. We can entertain it for next year if that's something you want to do, but I think the fiber optic things is a good deal. It'll help strengthen all our communities.
can we have them bring in a presentation and maybe anticipate it for next year's budget?
You could, it might be something you want to jump on now because they're going through with it, and the more you have on, the more the cost comes down.
Communications.
What is it, they put a
and
fiber
our
optic
energy
backbone
management
in
system.
town?
In the town, they wire the town, and they hook it up with the other surrounding contiguous towns. Westwood and West Regional is doing it. You'll have all your police all hooked in. Just basically decreasing your bandwidth. Increasing, so,
Decreasing your costs.
I have to agree with Mr. Kester, I think if you jump on
Initially,
cheaper now than it will be later.
I think now's the time to do it. I know it's a last minute thing.
Don't wanna spend the money, but-
I know it's a big number, but you're financing it, and it's only 5%, 5 or 10%. It's not a huge number. I'd ask for your consideration for it. I don't ask for much.
how much was it, Steve?
I think they were talking about a quarter
Quarter for the whole town.
for the whole town, from what I understand. But, we can, further numbers, we can,
$100,000 to go a mile and a half. So,
I feel like a piker. My energy management system's only going to be 22,000. It's going to turn the air
We
conditioning
won't
off
even
on the
capitalize
weekends.
that.
All right, gentlemen, so
I
what,
can get more firmer numbers on it
Yeah,
if you want, so
please.
I'd ask you to consider it,
all
that's
right,
all.
please. There's a item in capital that we're gonna go into closed session to discuss.
Just the one thing before we do.
Go ahead, Pete, I'm sorry.
The surplus, I think we need to start weaning off of that for the operating budget. So I would suggest we cut it by 10% this year, to go from 2.2 to 2.0. And maybe in future years, we cut slowly by 10%, but I don't know that this is sustainable, and so I'd like to see us
You want to
wean off of
have,
it.
you want to have no?
No.
No,
go-
cut it to 2 million, not
2 million instead of
2.2.
Oh,
2.2.
okay, okay.
Gentlemen, we okay with looking at that?
I'd like to cut it more.
You wanna cut it a little more?
I don't think we should be,
Well, I'm looking to phase it in over a couple of years, but
well, we didn't phase the increase over a couple of years. We went from 1.2 to 2.2 last year. So, I mean.
Well, because I had asked if that was a viable number, and it would be a viable number, because I was thinking about the fact that you really haven't put any money into the capital program.
I think we gotta look.
well, you'll have new sets of numbers for us tomorrow based on all these changes. So.
I think we need a real plan. That plan's.
Yeah, I think Mr. Beinfeld and Mr. May are gonna have to.
What the payments are gonna be, if you ban, you don't ban, put in, 16 million or whatever it is, and run it out.
Yeah. Sue, you had something?
Yeah, Judy had mentioned something about the library, and I don't know, was the letter that was given out, was this ever discussed?
It was not specifically discussed, but it is
Is
in
it in-
capital.
Okay, That's all.
What's it for?
I asked what it was.
What happened, it's in there. It's immaterial.
If I remember
Material
correctly,
relations.
an exterior also, a new awning for the front of the building, and a couple other small things.
I just want to know, because when I
Don't
put it
come to
into the
mind, right?
current budget, I'm just going to have to make a line item in the library.
It's in this budget?
Yes, on page 2.
Yeah, it was like a one line for the,
Library, the improvements,
25K. And that's over here somewhere?
I don't think it's in.
No,
There's not a letter to support?
I mean, I don't,
No, Sue,
You have to
No, it was in
read.
the last, it was in the last week's
What are we
packet.
doing with it?
Well,
Yeah. Well, you have it there, it was in last
This-
week's handout.
This was given, I had got it back in November, and it was something that they asked the council to consider as they were moving forward with the budget. And it's a project, a small project they'd like to do inside to minimize their space and noise and separation, and they're looking for about $50,000.
well, we
I
only
think
put
last year they
25
were
in the
missed.
budget.
Agreed to cut it, wasn't part of it this year, part
do
of
they
it.
have quotes and what they want to do and how much they want to do?
You know what, let me
it for?
scan this and I'll send this to you tomorrow.
Well, we're only funding half of it, we were told, right? I mean, that was the, yeah. All right, gentlemen, there's something in the capital that we need to go into closed, so, resolution number 19-70, going into closed session to discuss property acquisition of a township property. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Will it be coming back?
We will not be coming back from closed.
Councilman Bruno?
Yes.
Councilman Casio?
Yes.
Councilman Cumming?
Yes.
Councilman Oman?
Yes.
Council President DeSena?
Yes. Ricky's just got to come down and shut the microphones off.
And let me just do my thing here.